meeting of the select board for November 23rd. And if you could all please stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance with me. ECTV, if you could have the flag, please. There we go. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic which stands
one nation,
under God,
indivisible,
Well, please remain standing for a moment of silence for all the men and women, past and present, who help protect us and our great country, as well as the healthcare workers who are still fighting the pandemic on our behalf. Thank you very much. Please be seated. I mean, you can stay standing if you want because you're at your home, but okay. Gee, you're pretty much right on time. First item is appointment. It's actually at 6:44. It's the hearing for the tax rate for the upcoming year. Richard, would you like to take control?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Selectmen, residents of the town of Dartmouth. What I'd like to do first is some quick notes, and then we can get into the actual shift percentages. These notes are what actually happened this year. For fiscal 21, the town received $630,977 in new growth. This new growth was 353,514 in residential, 49,535 in commercial, 11,738 in industrial, 216,190. That was the breakdown. The total town's assessed value for 2021 is $6,097,611,520. The value increased from 2.3% from last year's value of $5,957,945,940. Last year's taxable levy was $64,280,466. This year's taxable levy is $67,569,717. The residential class for this year went up in a range of somewhere between 3.4% and 5%. The industrial class decreased 1.3%. It is important to note that during this meeting tonight, the select board is setting the minimum residential factor and also approving the small commercial business of 10%. In addition, it would allow Mr. Bonds, give permission to Mr. Bonds to tag the selectman's name on the LA5 for certification. To note, last year's minimum residential factor was set at 90.2664, and the shift was 1.52%. So next we go to the actual ranges and the classification hearing. And I'll get into the breakdown of value. The breakdown of value for residentials is $5,168,613,663. The commercial is $640,362,762. The industrial is $78,723,575. The personal property total is $209,911,520, bringing you to a total of $6,097,611,520. So listed in front of you is the selected shifts that we had set up from a 145 to a 159 factor. And the town is willing to go, or is able to go, I should say, above the original 1.50 set forth in the standard years. Because of the shift in residential, it has allowed us to shift more to the commercial. Questions?
What are your recommendations?
Well, as of this time, it is normal that I don't recommend, What I would suggest is to look at last year's taxes, and there was an increase of, I believe, 100 and hold on one second. I have that here. I think it was $140 to the resident class. If we look at the residential factor that was set last year, it was set at 90.363. And the closest to that factor on the sheet would be somewhere around 1.55, which would have a residential minimum residential factor set at 90.1144. Last year's, the 152 comes in between the 152 on your sheet and the 155 if we kept things equal.
David.
Richard, how are you doing? Great. Always a pleasure listening to your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
So basically, if I'm a homeowner, and what's in my favor is the commercial percentage has been growing. I think it wasn't long ago, it was about 93% residential. Is that about right?
That's correct. That's correct.
So we're attracting non-residential tax base, and that's the good news. The more difficult news is that our real estate value is increasing all the time because people want to move here. It's a great town, and all it's doing is increasing the value of their homes, which gets them an automatic increase in their taxes. Is that too elementary? That's for my own.
And another thing to indicate as well is that when we value the commercial properties, they're valued on the income approach. And one of the things that we rely on is leases. And what's happened in the market in today's world is, we originally have long-term leases, which, they're in the ends of their term. They're in they're usually leases run between 5 to 10 years. And those leases are showing very little increase in rents. So when we use that as a fact, and we have to do that by law on the income approach, what happens is the rents drop, vacancies rise, expenses rise, the values decrease. And that's what we're seeing. And what's happening as well is that these owners of the real estate don't like to see vacancies. So when vacancies occur, they may go back and look at their portfolio and they're willing to take a lower rent just to fill the space.
Exactly.
Any other questions or comments?
So just to expound on that a little for myself and maybe clarify for somebody, if we do basically nothing, taxes are going up just by if residential, that is, because by the sheer nature of how much the value of the property is increasing.
Excuse me, can you repeat that again? I had a hard time.
I'm sorry. Just by the mere fact, if I'm a residential, which is a major part of our constituency here, that our taxes are going up just by the mere fact alone, because the property value has been increasing so much year after year after year. So
as well, that's correct. And as well as also we're levying more as well. We're levying probably about an extra 5% a year. So between new 2.5 plus our new growth, plus any debt exclusions that we go out on, you add that to the mix as well. And there's a shift more to the residents because they're rising, commercials are dropping or are basically flat.
So our taxes are going up. The most prevalent reason is because our house values are going up considerably year after year. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, yes, that's one of the reasons. And I think the other reason, see, in the values going up, the way 2.5 works is that values in not everybody's area goes up to the mix. The component is the levy. So, if that levy is increasing, then what we're doing in a reevaluation is redistributing the levy. Some people, believe it or not, in this process, they go up some people go down, and some people do the average, which we talk about at these meetings. So it's a combination of, I always say it's a combination of three things. Some people stay the same, some people go up, and some people go down. And believe it or
Thank you.
not, it's hard to find those that go down.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I remember in my years of studying this topic, the historical indication was that residential property values tend to double about every 10 years. So it's not unusual for the residential property to go up. That, in fact, is the whole reason why the tax classification with the split tax rate was invented in the first place, way back in the 60s. But I can tell you, when I look at these numbers, and there's millions of numbers here, to me, the most important thing on the first page is how to get some kind of equality of the whole thing. As I scan down the list of the numbers here, the one that gives equal increase to residential and to commercial is the 1.59, because everybody's taxes goes up roughly 3%, which is, to me, is the most equitable way to accommodate this sort of thing. Sean?
Yeah, just, Richard, what's the current tax rate right now, residential?
$9.93. We kept it. It was the same as last year.
Okay, that's important. And that's important to know where I'm going to go on this chart. So I can tell you right now, the first four are not even part of my consideration. I'm considering the lower portion.
Yeah.
But I'm having a hard time. I mean, all right. One of the things is that we're talking about, if we're talking about an increase, so at the 1.55 factor, you're looking at a difference in residential taxes of 132.79, but that's based upon the median price of the home being at 34.3. So that's $343,000. So that's going to change. So your house is up in the 5s, 6s, that number is going to change. If your house is in 250s, that's going to change. That's going to be lower. So that number, the number sits well as we're talking about it, but when you actually get the bill, it's going to be like, well, they were talking only $130. Why is mine $150? Well, here's the reason why. Your house is valued higher. It's just that's the average price of the house in Dartmouth. So, but yeah, I have a tendency to agree with Frank that the one that seems the fairest is the percentage change in the increase, and that seems to be pretty fair.
Yeah,
Sean, may I speak?
Sure, please do.
Sean brings up an excellent point. And let me tell you why. The best way to gauge on what's happening is the new stuff that's coming into town. When we look at Lincoln Park, and we see that every day, it's very hard now to get into Lincoln Park for $450,000. And the new stuff that's being built off of Hicksville Road, you're looking at $600,000 pluses. So this is the stock that's coming into town. We also have lots of old stock as well. So that is an excellent point by Sean. I mean, and it's tough when we use averages, we use, average is an average, and it doesn't show what's really happening today in today's world.
And the most important thing to remember too is, even though these these $500,000 to $600,000 homes, they're still using more in services than they are paying in taxes. And the prime example is if they have a student that goes into the school system. Well, the school system's per pupil spending average is 3 times the high, or 2 or 3 times higher than what they're going to be paying in taxes. So, I mean, technically, everybody everybody is subsidizing everybody else when it comes to services in the town.
I'd like to see the rate stay at the same as it was last year. I don't want to give any more pain to our business district during COVID-19. They're suffering enough.
But if you do that, then you increase residential property taxes by 4 to 5%. That's not fair to them either. There's no such thing as staying the same. I mean, everybody taxes go up every year for everybody.
I know they're going up.
But that's why I always look at what does it do to the median property, both from a residential standpoint and what from a commercial standpoint. And that's why, to me, again, the most important number is the percentage change for both. And if percentage wise, and I realize it is only the median value, as Sean was saying, but if the median value is going up about 3% for each, that's about as fair as you can get, I believe. Stanley.
Well, thank you. John and I very rarely, if ever, agree. But I must say, brick and mortar stores, and we have them. We've got a big one in town. They're not doing that well. I know it's public knowledge, but the managing company of the mall filed for Chapter 11. So that being said, they're not going anywhere, but they're just looking for relief like everybody else is. So, and I don't want to burden the residents either. They're having they're having difficult times. A lot of people are not working, or if they are, they're working at home or they're making less. It's a very difficult time for everyone. But I do encourage the number to increase on the commercial side. And if we go too far up on the percentage, I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot. I own a small little piece of property in a nearby town, and I'm negotiating a new lease. And the first year of the lease will be no increase at all in their cost for the first year. Yes, it'll go up the second, third, fourth, fifth year. Yep. But because of COVID, I felt the duty to if I wanted to keep this customer or keep this tenant, I had to do that. So I'm in the middle here. I like the 155 in the 159. I think the 159 obviously, it's equal. Everybody's assuming the same responsibility, but I'm leaning more. I'm not going to vote yet, but I'm leaning more towards that middle, that 155, to help the commercial a bit.
More comments, Mr. Tattelbaum?
I would say that the 159 number, which is pretty equitable, a little bit more for the commercial, seems like the right thing to do. It minimizes, it's the smallest increase for the residents. And I think based on what Richard's told us, it's that's basically because their house is going up in value. And 3.9 is a minimal increase for commercial, but it does share a little bit more of the burden. So I'm leaning in that direction.
Sean?
This is by far the toughest decision that I generally have to make each year. I mean, this is not just done willy-nilly. This is a lot of thought because it affects everybody. I mean, we make decisions that affect everybody, but I think this one hits home more than anything else. And I just, I'm looking at the selected commercial, properties, and the biggest number, of course, is the big box stores. Those numbers stick out, but and then I'm looking at two of the local smaller places. And I understand. I totally understand the hits businesses have taken during this COVID. I really do. And and trying to think of ways to deal with it. But don't forget, we have 34,000 people in this town, and I don't know how many housing units it translates to, but I'm sure it's somewhere in the vicinity of around 10,000. Maybe more, I don't know. But, that's just that's a lot of impact. It really is. And you see the changes as you go along. There's at the 1.45, that's an 11% difference. Then at the 1.47, it's a 8, almost a 9% difference. 1.48, it's a 8.5% difference. 1.50, it's almost a 7% difference. 1.52, it's a 5% difference. 1.55, it's a 2.5, almost a 2.5% difference. And then the 1.59, it's less than a 1% difference. So, I mean, the question is what is fair, the 1% or the 2.5%?
David?
In the year going forward for a COVID year, the striking difference, and I don't know if there's anything we can do about it, but there are some parts of industries that are absolutely crippled by COVID. If you're in the locally here from the restaurant business, most restaurants, unless they're lucky enough to have a gigantic, takeout business, who knows what's going to happen now going inside. They had a nice outside business. If you're in the travel business, the airline business, I mean, you are really, really struggling. Whereas other types of businesses, solid retailers, they're doing well because people are shopping because they're home and using more products or whatever. But I feel for the industries that really have no control of the fact that they are day by day gets worse and worse. And it's going to be a tough year next year for them. I don't know if we can, those kinds of reliefs, but it's that's what really strikes me the most. There are some industries that just are being strangled through no fault of their own.
Well, the good news, if there is any, is that if their business is small enough, they will get the small commercial exemption, which helps significantly, and that's as good as we can do with what the state has allowed us to do. So,
yeah.
So that's a help, I believe.
Yeah, good point.
But we also have a lot of people who work in those businesses that own homes in town that don't have a job, that or their jobs are severely curtailed.
Exactly my point.
And that's the bigger picture here. And that's I think truly the only fairest way is to make this as even as possible, and go with the 1.59. And I'm going to make a motion that we choose the factor 1.59 factor for the coming set the tax rate, which the residential tax rate will be $9.91. The commercial and industrial rate would be $17.69.
I'll second that.
I think the motion has to include the residential factor, which is 89.3954, and you have to include the small commercial exemption in that
Well,
also.
the small commercial exemptions usually is a separate. It's usually two motions.
Okay.
I think, usually it's in front of us.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm kind of winging it here. All right. So, I'll make a motion that, let me clarify my motion. Make the motion. We sent the factor at 89.3954, which is 1.59, which would give us a residential tax rate of $9.91 and a CNI rate of $17.69, and to authorize Mr. Barnes to stamp our names to the necessary forms to implement this.
Second.
Greg, you have to unmute yourself.
I just want to note that the tax rate that you mentioned is just an estimate. We have to
Right.
plug it in, so you're not actually voting the tax
Okay,
rate.
well, this the 8 point. All right, so then it's just eliminate the wording of the residential rates, the MRF at 89.3954. And yada yada, to sign the forms and that kind of stuff.
Well, we got to vote.
Does that need another?
Just want to make just to get a clarification on the. I made the clarification. The second can clarify also. There's a second.
Okay. But we have a motion and a second. I guess no more discussion is needed. We'll do Sean, roll call.
Are you signing off with me?
Well,
Oh.
you're at the top, you're at the top of my screen, so.
Okay, all right. I don't know. I don't see a screen. Yes.
And never saw him so excited.
Yes. No, it's just first. Woo.
Yeah. Stanley,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
John,
No,
and I will vote yes.
Okay. Also make a motion that we continue with the small business exemption as we have in the past
At the full 10%.
at the full 10%. Yes.
Second.
Okay, we have another motion and a second. Sean, I'll let you go first again.
Yes.
Yes, Stanley,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
John,
yes,
and me, yes. So 4-1 on the residential factor and 5-0 on the small commercial exemption. So, and that included the authorization for Mr. Barnes to sign for us.
Thank you so much.
All right, Richard.
Thank you. Thank you,
Great
gentlemen.
job, Richard.
Terrific job, Richard.
Yep, thanks,
Thank you.
Richard.
Have a happy Thanksgiving, gentlemen.
You too.
Thank
Now.
you.
Stay safe.
All right, you too.
Stay small.
Don't
Bye.
don't eat any bad birds. Okay, I think we're all set with that.
Yep.
Okay. New business. Item A, Sue Gaducci Historical Commission. Sue here?
I don't think she's on. She had submitted a request to be appointed to the Historical Commission. It's in your packet.
Ah, okay.
She's been attending the meetings, but I don't think she's been officially.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second
Second.
that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, Sean, you can go again.
Yes,
You're getting good at
I know.
it. Stanley,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
John,
Yes,
and me, yes. Welcome, Sue.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
could we take the village decorations out of sequence? Mr. Russell's been waiting for a little while.
Sure, we can certainly do that.
Let him. We like him. We like to see him. Like, he could be, he's got a nice background. He's got one of the nicest backgrounds of anybody who's come to our meetings. Nice black red with that white. That looks nice.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate that.
Can you take a Photoshop of that and I can take it? I'll use it.
Anytime. I'll send it to you, Stanley.
You could hang some decorations in your room, though.
I probably should do that. My wife makes me wait until December 1st, though.
I
Okay.
do the same thing. I refuse to put up Christmas decorations before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just something inside of me that just goes, yeah.
I get it.
We rush things along too much sometimes in life.
You want to go shopping on Big Friday first, then you can put up your decorations, Sean.
No.
4
Yeah.
o'clock in the morning.
He gets those.
Not this year, unfortunately. Maybe prior years.
Sean could go stand in line by himself this year.
Ain't no standing in line that day for me. Sorry. Or any day like that.
All right, I agree. We will take this out of order. So item D, village decorations. Mr. Russell, it's all yours.
Thank you, gentlemen, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I'm here again. I can't believe it's been a year already. But last year I came before you asking for the town's approval to light the lampposts in the village as part of the holiday lights that we have going. Again, similar to last year, I think the spirit in Payneham Village transcends throughout the town. People come from all over the town to see it. This year, I think it's even more important than prior years. People need something to pick them up, and I think the display helps, and the lamps, I think, make it a little bit more traditional and old world looking. And we think it adds a nice touch to the whole display.
Agreed. Anything to light this miserable 220 up.
Yeah.
You got my vote. Make a motion, we do so.
I got a call.
You want to do more? Go ahead, more.
I got a call the other day with requests for the Maritime Center to be included. Is that still a plan?
I believe it is still in the works if that's approved.
Okay, it was clearly all right with me, but I would let the board make the decision. So,
Yeah, fine. I'll put that in my motion.
Stanley, your question?
Yeah, I just want to go over just one thing. David, I think
Yes.
we mentioned it last year when we initiated this. We just want to need to be careful. Those light posts are very expensive, and just to be careful in install.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
The gentlemen that are, I shouldn't say gentlemen, there may be women. The gentle people that are installing the lights are all electricians to the best of my knowledge, and last year were particularly careful about the lamp posts, and I'm sure this year as well.
Thank you very much. And
Of course.
I'm 100% behind you.
Yeah, they have good L's.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm sorry. Did somebody make a motion?
Yes, I did.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Sean,
Yes.
Stanley,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
and myself. Yes, you're all set, Mr. Russell. And thank you for brightening our dismal year.
It's a little effort for a big job, but we'll do the best we can. Thank you all for your time and changing the agenda for me.
Be
You're,
safe.
Much appreciated.
Be safe, David.
you're entirely,
Thank you. You too. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you.
You too now.
you're entirely
I will.
welcome. You're entirely welcome, and you go with brightness.
Thank you. We will do that.
Let there be light.
Look to be late. Yeah.
We'll do our best. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Take care.
You too.
All right.
Thank you.
Item B, something I knew nothing about until I talked to Mr. McGinnis about this. Town forest management. Didn't know we had such a thing.
Oh, yeah. It exists.
We do it now.
They do exist. So, Sean, do you want me to fill this in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you fill in the blanks. The Selectman McDonald got a request from a resident regarding maintenance of the town forests. So then there was some research being done because we weren't aware that there were town forests, and this is something that dates back to the 20s with some land that was designated by the town. And according to state statute, there should be a town forest committee charged with the managing care of the town forests. In the past, that was one person. Over the years, I think it's kind of just fallen away, and we had to discover that there were still town forests. And gentleman, Mike Labossiere, is that how you say it?
Yep.
He was able to identify those parcels. They're in the email correspondence, and I think he's just interested in making sure that the town has the goal of maintaining these town forests as part of the master plan and open space plan, and also maybe establishing a town forest committee again to just kind of manage and care for these forests and represent them in the town.
And I remember a while ago, and I don't remember as to when, but I remember reading or seeing there used to be a town forest warden, and not the tree warden, but it was a town forest warden. I'm not sure when that stopped. When I got the email from Mike, it was like, okay, I do remember the town forest, but I'm not sure exactly where it is. So I reached out to a couple of old timers in town, and even one who recently passed away, Bill Mosier, he couldn't remember the town forest. So it was one of those like, okay, we know they're here, but where were they? And I think part of the town forest at one time was around the UMass campus. I don't know if it's still, I don't think it's still there, but there's definitely Crossroad, Reed Road, some town forest areas in there. So, I mean, this is just, it's by statute that we have to have it. And I believe Mike is a resident in town, but Mike also deals with, he's employed by the city of Fall River, and that's what he does for Fall River. He does the city's forest. So, I mean, the guy has the expertise, he has the knowledge, and he's also going to be part of this committee, whether he likes it or not. So, but this is just something that, there's really there's little or no expense, forests maintain themselves, just have to make sure that, if there's anything that can be done would be to develop walking trails, and that can be done through CPC money as part of recreation. So, something simple as easy as that. But if we have them, let's see how large they are and, see if they can be used.
I read somewhere in this document that instead of a committee, we could do conservation, let the conservation group handle it. I'm wondering which is the better option.
Yeah. I don't know. And maybe talking to Mark Garrett, maybe he can make a suggestion. Maybe they can work together.
Yep.
How about DNRT?
We can rely on their expertise.
Yeah, for sure.
At least their knowledge of
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'd be happy to offer their experience.
They do one hell of a job.
Yeah.
We want to.
Do we need a vote?
Yeah, well, I don't know if we can vote if we don't know how we're gonna.
Yeah.
I think we should just look into it further and just see how it wants to be set up, and then it can be brought to us
Yeah,
at a later time as to how the setup is going to set up, how the setup is going to be.
Yeah.
Great.
Who's going to be responsible. I mean, ultimately, the five of us will end up probably being the town forest wardens. So, we'll get those little cute Smokey the Bear hats. And
Boy.
Do we get a badge?
Yeah, we'll give you one, Stanley.
It'll be plastic though.
You could be
No. It's got to be the real deal. It's got to be green.
You could be the number one wood elf.
It's got to be green.
All right, is that okay with everybody that we put this off until we get some more definition?
Yeah, more substance as to how we're going to handle it.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Item C, marijuana retail and manufacturing RFQ reviews.
Yes. So, in light of the latest special permit that was given out at the tennis club for retail, the board met a few meetings ago and decided that they wished to move forward with issuing a host community agreement for manufacturing. We also have retail host community agreements available. So what we've done, I've worked with Cody Haddad, our interim director of development, and we've updated our request for qualifications to include manufacturing and cultivation of marijuana as well as retail. So we're going to issue one RFQ and evaluate those as they are presented. And if we get multiple candidates that are acceptable for retail, we will work with the board to present those to award multiple retail host community agreements. We only have by law one manufacturing and cultivation license, so we will be evaluating those. If we get multiple, can come in and present to the board for their selection. So because we've added the manufacturing and cultivation, I just wanted to present it to the board for approval and review. And if you're all set, we will get it advertised later this week and get the process going, and hopefully get some good candidates in here to start opening up and running operations.
Okay, what's the board's pleasure? David?
I would just like to say that I certainly am in favor of a marijuana manufacturing facility. And I would even I'm personally in favor of having it on Route 6 in the tennis facility. However, town meeting has voted down that twice in that location. So if there is resistance to it, and I particularly, I was quite concerned about my decision on this and voting against it. However, if there is enough of response, and I think people who don't want it there, they have a right now to go through the ZBA process. Is that correct, John? There will be a.
No, I think it's been approved by the ZBA
already.
What process? Okay.
They have to go back to the planning board for a special permit.
Okay.
And the planning board is going to review it as if it was an allowed use, but there are criteria for the special permit that they would have to meet. There'll be a place there for public comment, I'm sure. Yes.
Okay, so so if there is objection to that by town residents, that's the place to put it?
That's one place, but also in order for the select board to issue a host community agreement, the applicant would be at a public meeting in which people could voice their support or non-support of the host community agreement for this manufacturing and cultivation.
So it would be through planning and then ultimately through the board if the planning were to approve it. People have the right to voice their opinions for or against it, those two types.
Yeah, it'd be public hearing, correct? Yep.
For both. Okay.
Right.
And whenever that's going to be out there, surely will be advertised, and people do have that right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
John?
Yeah, I read the host agreement and I noticed the one thing, the 1%, the 2% for late payment fees. Doesn't the town only charge 1% for our taxes, late fees? I'm not sure on that.
But that's separate. But this was standard to make sure that the applicants are compensating the town appropriately and on time. So hopefully we don't have to levy that 2%. For a host community agreement, where we're generating revenue, we can make that percentage anything. This is the standard percentage that is found in most host community agreements. But if the board wants to decrease it to 1%, we can certainly do that. That's no problem.
Okay, so it's possible for further negotiations going forward with these host agreements.
Yes.
Okay, and the other thing I noticed, I looked at how the gift was to be distributed. And I look at us right now with COVID-19, and I look at our senior center and the Friends of the Elderly, and I see the park board is getting some money. I think sometimes the select board may or should get the ability to direct that funds where they think it should go. And right now, if I had a choice, I'd vote for the senior center and the Friends of the Elderly. So I just want to bring that up for something for future negotiations.
I think, and to your point, John, I'm trying to find the wording. It says
Health and Human
it's
Services.
wording here where the board ultimately makes the decision of how it's distributed. So this, we say this is how we would like to distribute it, but ultimately that could change.
Okay, so basically the three items that are there now can be changed by the select board going forward.
Yeah, so it's the annual contributions are for community benefits included, but not limited to those below. So
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, any other comments? I would entertain a motion to allow Mr. McGinnis to move forward with the RFQs.
I'll make that motion.
I'm
And
sorry.
I'll second it then.
Okay, motion and a second. Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson.
Yes.
I'm not gonna let Scott go first anymore.
Oh, no, because I just have, I don't know. I go back to my old comment, my previous comments on the ZBA thing.
Okay, Mr. Tattelbaum,
Yes.
Mr. Herron,
Yes.
myself, yes.
Great.
great.
Well, good.
Hopefully we get something.
Mhm.
My other comment, lastly about this, and won't belabor it, but all of our neighbors everywhere that surround us are all involved in marijuana, and they're cashing in, and we have nothing going on. We need the revenue, especially now. Thank you.
It sounds like everybody's dealing.
Well, they are. Get in on it.
Cody, did you want to say something, or are you good?
No, I'm all set. I was just here if there were any questions directed toward me as I've worked with Sean on this.
Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Okay,
Frank?
license renewal.
Frank, I just, for a point of clarification, I voted in favor of this particular time. I think the process should continue, and people would be given the right to voice their opinion before, for or against at the right time. And that's why I voted for the motion in this particular case.
You realize that the ZBA ruling gives them a legal allowable ruling to go forward. So otherwise,
I do. However, well, we discussed in length last time, but I still feel strongly about 2 votes at town meeting, and there was some confusion there, and people still have an avenue to voice their opinion.
Yep.
And make sure that if they do and they want to, they have to make sure that we make it clear that they have that right and can still do so.
Yep. Okay, license renewals, my favorite time of year. Okay. I will read these lists as a group, individual groupings.
All right, before we start, I had asked Sean to come up with some figures regarding the renewals. As I don't know if everybody read, the city of New Bedford has cut the liquor license renewals for businesses by 25%. So I was wondering how that would relate it to Dartmouth. Sean, can you give those numbers?
Yeah, so if we only do restaurants liquor licenses, there's 35 of those currently, and the 25% discount would equate to $662.50 per license, and that would total up to $23,187.50 for the town. That would be in revenue loss to provide that 25% reduction.
So I don't know if that's something you guys want to think about. I mean, it's 20, and it would just strictly be the restaurants, not the only consideration is because the restaurants have hurt, and there's also licenses with the liquor stores, but liquor stores, I haven't heard one peep about liquor stores hurting. In fact, every time I go by, I see them. There's at least 5 or 6 cars in each parking lot at a time. So
the statistics are staggering how high they are.
Yeah. So I don't know if this is an appetite for something you guys are thinking about, if you're considerate. Most of it, I know it should have been discussed earlier, but seeing how New Bedford has done it, and they have far more licenses than we do. I'm just wondering. In many cases, some of these would actually, to be honest with you, that $600 and some odd would offset the increase in taxes that we just increased.
When I read the article in the paper, my first impression was that their liquor licenses were a lot more expensive than ours. Is that correct or not correct?
That's a good question. I don't know. You can talk about it. I'm going to try and search the substandard.
So your proposal, Sean, is to reduce?
Well, I'm just thinking about whether or not there would be an appetite to reduce the liquor license for restaurants to a percentage to kind of help.
These are restaurants who serve food and alcohol.
It would be restaurants that serve alcohol. It'd be the all alcohol license.
Yeah, I remember
so wait a minute. So that would be bars.
It would be the 35 licenses, Sean.
Yes.
Talked about. It wouldn't be social clubs.
Okay.
It wouldn't be like the Stackhouse or the Portuguese club.
Yeah.
Yeah, the article I read, it sounded like the liquor licenses were all up in $3,000, $3,500 range.
All right, I got the article here. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, but Sean, the Stackhouse serves food. It's a restaurant also.
Yeah.
So
And then you have Country Club, Allendale. So the list is growing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there. All right. It says here, according to the city's public information officer, the cost of the renewal was reduced from $3,050 to $2,288, and then the second largest group of license holders, clubs, were reduced from 2,400 to 18. And it says it does. The reduction doesn't. So they've done it. They've done it to clubs too. Sean, you wouldn't happen to have the numbers for the clubs, would you? The second tier?
Don't have it.
What is the actual?
I didn't create I didn't do the export based on, they're all mixed in. I'd have to
Right.
take some time to pick them out.
What is the actual cost of a restaurant, all alcoholic permit?
Oh, it is 26. Oh, you had to ask me that. Sorry, I had it up earlier. Give me 1 second here.
So 625 difference, that would be $2,600. 20.
It's right on the town's website. Hold on. Select board. Licenses. All alcoholic restaurant common vic is $2,750. The wine and malt beverage restaurant common vic is $1,600.
It's
The
26.
all alcohol club is $2,100.
Well, if there ever was an industry in town that is being the most affected or largely affected by COVID, it certainly is this category.
Right.
It sounds like those are already like 25% less than New Bedford. Is that right?
Right. Yeah, but that's yeah.
it was
New
the percentage is a percentage, you know. So it's not like we're equal in the same value.
Right.
So there's a common vic fee that's $100. So the liquor license is $26.50, but then there's a common vic fee that's $100.
Okay. Yeah, it would come off the $2,650. And the $1,500 and the $2,000, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. I'm wondering now if we could. I mean, I wonder if we could add the figures in of the clubs. Finding out what that would be. 'Cause I don't. How many clubs are there actually? Well, let's look.
I think it's just two. I think.
Oh, you know,
The Stackhouse and Portuguese American,
Right.
and then there's there's New Bedford Yacht Club.
yeah, and you're getting New Bedford Country Club
You got New Bedford Country Club,
and
Allendale.
Allendale Country Club.
right? And does the Holy Ghost have that? I don't think the Holy Ghost has it.
I don't see it on here now, but the
No.
VFW though.
The one VFW.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 5 or 6. So 25%. That's another 3,000. So I think we're just talking probably under $30,000 loss in fees. I think that would be safe to say.
Again, as David said, they are the ones that have been most hurt by it. Some have done a little better than others, but we're coming into winter months now, and it's going to be a long, long winter. And who knows with what restrictions might come out later. I'm more than willing to make a motion to.
All right, all right. Let me make the motion to. Sorry, Stan. I'll make the motion that we reduce the all alcoholic restaurant, the all alcohol club, and the wine and malt beverage restaurant licenses by 25%.
Second.
Discussion. I think I'd like to see that the what do you call it? The other club out in I forget the field out in the Holy Ghost be included in this.
Well, I'd like to see what if they have a license though.
They do
They
have
have an alcohol license.
They do have an alcohol license. They come here every year for us to give them permission
Right,
for
but
weddings.
those are 1 day licenses they get. They don't get an annual license. So
No,
they'll
no.
one-day licenses for
They only
those.
have one fee.
And they usually, and that fee goes to the people who are holding the event anyway.
Correct.
Okay,
That's a pass through.
all right.
Okay.
At least it should be a pass through.
Motion and a second. Is there any more discussion on this?
Well,
Go ahead, David.
certainly, there are many restaurants who are doing quite well, and some of the larger ones that it's not going to mean much to, but you can't pick and choose. And I guess this is a gesture that, is it meaningful to the people we're doing it for? It certainly acknowledges the board's concern for for the hardship that they have taken on through no fault of their own. Is it a significant one to them? It means something. Money is money, but I think more than anything, it's a recognition of the select board that how tough it is to exist in this industry at this time. It's not going to get any better.
We have more restaurants that are singularly owned than corporate owned.
We do.
And our heart goes out to every one of them, all the employees and the owners.
Yeah, I think the class of business that's doing the worst in that regard is the restaurants that don't have alcohol.
Right.
Because
Right.
alcohol is a big moneymaker for
Yeah.
restaurants. But I'm good either way with this. So we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Okay, Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson,
Yes.
Mr. Tattelbaum,
Yes.
Mr. Herron,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes also.
Great.
All right.
Okay.
Let's hit the license renewals now.
What about the restaurants themselves, the non-alcoholic restaurants? Does that come up again?
That would be a common vic license.
Correct.
That's $100.
100?
Yeah.
So they get 75.
Okay.
Well, that's if we
You didn't vote on that.
didn't vote on
No.
that.
No.
This was just strictly alcohol license.
Alcohol. Yep.
I mean, it's only $100.
I think we can pass on that one.
I'll get 2 takeout orders for their license. I don't want to be flippant about it, but I mean, it's just, yeah, it's just one of those things.
Okay, let's hit the list. Okay. First grouping, restaurant, all alcohol, common vic. Black Bass, Chipotle, Farm and Coast, Fiesta Mexican Restaurant, From the Soul, Joe's Original, TGI Fridays, Texas Roadhouse, the Olive Garden, and the Ninth Monarch.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for that group. Sean,
Yes.
Stanley,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
myself. Next grouping, restaurant, all alcoholic, common vic with entertainment with alcohol. It's Cask and Pig, the Sail Loft, Ying Dynasty, and Max's.
Well, the sale lot was closed.
Right.
So
Question, Sail Loft, they closed. Do they still want the license?
Is that a Zoom echo? Is that what that is?
I think they, from
Sean, are you listening to Stanley at all tonight?
they closed, but they I think they're
I don't
gonna.
blame you, but
They have plans to reopen if things turn around. So as the governor's orders are eased throughout the year, they plan to reopen possibly.
Which leads me to another thing. Well, I mean, it just no, and I've said this before. Okay, I understand the license with the business, but they have to come to us for the license, for renewal, for granting of the license. I don't feel that the license should be used as a business asset. That you sell the business because the license is actually worth. Case in point, remember the beer and wine license that was held by a store near Fiesta Mexican.
Yep.
And then it was purchased by a new store opening up down the road. And that license, basically they had to purchase the license from the town for about $2,000 for that beer and wine license. They ended up selling it for $35,000. So they profited off the license. I don't think somehow the Commonwealth has to correct that. I don't
But,
think that should be,
called a pocket license of,
exactly. I don't think it
Sean,
should.
I think there's some legislation that does not allow that.
I can provide a little clarity here on this. The town of Dartmouth has unlimited liquor licenses that they can issue. Other communities don't. I think in the past, there was in the town here, there was a misunderstanding that there were only a finite number of licenses. We have a letter from the ABCC stating that the town is grandfathered to issue, unlimited liquor licenses. So I think what some businesses try to do, like the sale loft, is if you don't renew your license, you've got to go through the process all over again with the ABCC, which can be time consuming and a lot of work. So it's much more economical to just renew the license. And then that, you'll see further on after we go through these licenses, there's still a number of businesses that have not renewed this year. And, we do everything we can to contact them and make it easier, because it's now available 24/7 online to apply. But if they miss the deadline, we don't have control over that. That's the ABCC deadline. So, you've seen in the past, some businesses have come in and unfortunately they have to reapply again and go through the process, which is time consuming and not, it can be a little bit costly. So we just want to make it known, and that's why it's in the agenda, that there's a number of businesses that have yet to apply. So we want to kind of, hopefully they're listening, or other people are listening, and let them know to contact us or go online and finish their renewal application.
Yeah, because I see here some of the license renewals requests were a couple of them that we had done after the fact. So
Yeah.
But like I said, my still gripe is using the license issued by the town as capital in the sale of a business. I have a problem with that.
And that unlimited is just for restaurants. So that might have been a liquor store or something like that, Sean, that you're referring to. Yes.
Okay, did we vote on the second group?
I don't believe we did.
Okay, did we have a motion and a second?
I don't think we have a motion on it.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson,
Yes.
Mr. Tattelbaum,
Yes.
Mr. Herron,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Okay, now I have a question on the next one, because Chumley's also shows up in the did not renew grouping.
Oh, if then they may have renewed, so that we may have added them. So if they're on here to renew, they've submitted their information.
Okay, so restaurant, wine and malt beverages, common vic entertainment, Chumley's.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson,
Yes.
Mr. Tattelbaum,
Yep.
Mr. Herron,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Okay, restaurant, wine and malt beverages, common vic, Aya Cherie, Cape Quality Seafood, and Friendly Pizza.
Is Ira Cherie still in business?
Yep.
Oh, there we are.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson,
Yes.
Mr. Tattelbaum,
Yes.
Mr. Herron,
Yes.
myself, yes. All right, Club All Alcoholic, Common Vic, Stackhouse Fairgrounds, and Portuguese American.
So
Motion
moved.
to approve.
Second.
Okay, Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson,
Yes.
Mr. Tattelbaum,
Yep.
Mr. Herron,
Yes.
myself, yes. Club All Alcoholic, Common Vic, Entertainment with Alcohol, the Bedford Yacht Club.
Motion to approve.
Second. Whatever.
Second. We have a couple of motions in a couple of seconds.
Here we go.
Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
okay, John,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Okay. Packaged goods store, all alcoholic. Cardoza's Wine and Spirits, Dartmouth Market, Dartmouth Wine and Spirits, Lizzie's Liquors, and Town Liquors.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Mr. Herron,
Yes.
Mr. Tattelbaum,
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson,
Yes.
Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
and myself, yes. let's see.
I didn't see CV Variety on that one. CV Liquors.
That's probably why I didn't say.
That's because they haven't renewed yet.
Okay.
They're in the second page.
There are people that have, that are, at this point, I had talked to somebody this morning that just
There it
dropped
is.
off all his paperwork and put it in the slot. So I'm
Okay.
sure there are quite a few of them.
Even BJ's is on that list, so yeah. It's a good store. Mall, wine and malt beverages. Bliss Express, Farm and Coast Market. Root, wasn't Farm and Coast on the earlier one?
No.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
they're on the restaurant. They sell and they do both.
Yeah, they're also a restaurant. Yes, correct.
They need 2 licenses to do that?
Yeah.
hmm
Oh, okay. Route 6 Beer and Wine and Shaw's.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson,
Yes.
Mr. Tattlebaum,
Yes,
Mr. Herron,
Yes.
myself, yes. Packaged goods store, wine and malt beverages. Just McDonald, sorry.
Pouring license.
Pouring license, yeah, Running Brook.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
Mr. Tattlebaum,
yes.
Mr. Mickelson,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
so. Okay, now this is just to make aware, we don't have to vote on these obviously, but these are license holders who have not submitted renewal applications. The restaurant, all alcoholic common vic is AMC Theaters, Apple New Bedford, New England, Jesus. Azuma Asian Bistro, these 2, Gumbo's, Little Moss, and 99 Restaurant and Pub. It's hard to believe that some of those people wouldn't want to be renewed, but clearly a paperwork snag, I guess, or timing. Restaurant, all alcoholic, common vic, entertainment with alcohol, Brazilian Grill, Busted Sports Bar, Rachel's Lake Cider, Chumley's we've already talked about. Restaurant, wine and malt beverages, common vic, Jimmy's Pizza, Peking Garden, Savali, all alcoholic restaurant, common vic, amusement devices, jukebox and pool table, entertainment with alcohol, Buffalo Wild Wings, Thirsty Whale, and the King's Inn. Restaurant, wine and malt beverages, amusement devices, arcade, Chuck E. Cheese. Club, all alcoholic, common vic, entertainment with alcohol, Allendale Country Club and Country Club of New Bedford. Club, all alcoholic, amusement devices, pool table, jukebox, entertainment with alcohol, UMass Dartmouth, and VFW Memorial Post. Packaged goods stores, all alcoholic, Acme's Liquors and CV Variety. Packaged goods store, wine and malt beverages, BJ's, C&S Variety, and Smith Mills Mobile. Hard to believe there's so many that have just not got around to it, I guess.
Yeah.
No
So,
problem.
and I can tell you, so Christine Amaral in the select board office here has really gone out of her way. She's made phone calls. She's emailed through our online permitting and licensing system. We can email and we get notifications when the email is opened so that we know like they've opened it and read it. So we've made every effort and they can apply online anytime and they can certainly call the office and if they need assistance.
Yeah, that's good to know. I mean, we should just emphasize that because it'll be costly if they don't have it and have to renew in 2021. They have to go through the whole process.
Yeah. It's also
Is there
costly.
a deadline, Sean?
Oh, yes. I think it's the end of this month.
End of November?
Yes.
Oh,
That's the ABC deadline. And, it's consistent every year, so it doesn't change. So
okay.
Establishments all know.
It's also
So can we do something on the website to remind everyone that they really need to?
I think what Christine has done,
Yeah, I know she's
emailing them
doing
and
a great
calling them,
job.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's more than enough.
I know the King's Inn guy called me and he had all his paperwork, knocked on the door, didn't realize town hall was closed. So I just told him to put it in the mailbox.
You can pick it up next time you go there, Stanley.
I'll get my cut. Yeah.
Sure. So anybody that's listening out there, if your favorite place out on this list, you want them to reopen or open and keep their license, remind them, please, that they're they're falling behind the 8 ball here. Okay, old business. Mr. McGinnis.
Sure. Bliss Corner update. No new update on Bliss Corner and the DEP's analysis of testing. COVID-19, as you know, town hall is closed until December 3rd, in accordance with DPH and CDC guidelines, and also an abundance of caution. But we are open for business, so residents can call the offices and schedule drop-offs if they need to drop anything off, or answer any questions. And we also have a number of online services we offer, from tax payment to permits and licensing to just about anything. So as long as the public knows, but they can contact all the offices. The fishing pier, we have no new update from the state on their review of the contract.
Okay. Minutes, I didn't see any minutes.
No minutes.
Okay, information from anyone?
Happy Thanksgiving.
I got a couple.
Okay, I was just going to remind people that, you know, the vaccine is certainly within a month away, probably less than that, the way things are going. You're making faces. You don't believe that?
2 months away.
No, they're saying if it passes December 3rd, the stuff will be shipped out in 48 hours.
Yeah, but it's going to the places where it needed the most, where will be the essential workers, the healthcare workers.
Yeah.
Hospitals, nursing homes first.
Yeah, then as old people
Vulnerable.
with underlying conditions.
Yep.
So, but anyway, the fact is it's around the corner, and now is not the time to. It's like playing a football game, getting on the 5-yard line and then forgetting why you're there. So everybody, please continue to wear your masks, do social distancing, wash your hands, and do everything else that's going to help keep you safe. Because now would not be a good time to drop the ball. Okay, those others with information. Sean?
David had something. David, go. I got a few.
Just as a quick follow-up on that, Frank, I think that Thanksgiving is a giant temptation to break the rules. For me personally, we had to make some personal decisions not to see our grandchildren and visit them, and it became a no-brainer decision. You just can't keep your foot off the gas pedal. We have to follow the rules. Our state and our town has done a fantastic job with COVID, led by our governor and then led by our town administrator, and certainly our Board of Health and the whole team. Stick to it, because there's really no choice. Safety's first, and be very careful how you choose to celebrate Thanksgiving and the people you associate yourself with, because in the end, it's just not worth it. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we're celebrating within our bubble.
Yeah.
You know, so that's basically what it is. I mean, my sister-in-laws are not coming, so that you know that they're not consistent in our bubble, so they're not going to be here. So, but we'll have something, but it'll be small, and we even got a smaller turkey. But one of the things I do want to address regarding the COVID was in today's Standard Times, I believe it was today. There was a comment made by Lynn Broder from the Board of Health regarding the Select Board and our inaction to deal with the Black Friday stuff. I know we held off on any kind of Black Friday stuff, seeing what the governor was going to do, and that our jurisdiction regarding Black Friday only deals outside of the normal business hours, which is the 12 o'clock to 5 o'clock realm. No businesses have come forward to ask for that. So for a public official to chastise this board for inaction on applications that we didn't receive was just misplaced. So maybe she wasn't aware of no applications. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm thrilled to death that there are no applications, because I don't have to be the lone standout. But you know, it's understandable, and on that. So I would suspect that the information didn't get to Lynn on that. So that was the reason why the Select Board didn't do anything, because we had no applications. Another matter. I believe it's Cody Ferreira who did the flag drop off
Tyler,
at Town Hall.
Tyler Ferrer.
Tyler.
Kyle?
Tyler.
Tyler Ferrer. I'm sorry, Tyler. I know so many Ferreras. Tyler Ferrera did the stand there, and it's up. And let me tell you, it has been used. It's been emptied already several times. So the people are using it. There have been a significant number of discarded flags that have been dropped off, and people continue to do that. So it was a good project and well worth it. And Tyler and the people that helped him deserve kudos on that. On a sad note, I just want to make aware of the passing of Bill Mosier, former selectman, former town clerk and treasurer, longtime resident in the town. Bill passed away on Thursday, Friday. Received the word. Very few people in this town that I have dealt with that I have an absolute tremendous respect for. And Bill Mosier was one of those guys. Bill was the type of an individual who gave you the truth, whether you liked to hear it or not. I respected Bill to the utmost. To me, in my circle of learning of people, learning on how to conduct myself and how to conduct the town business, Bill Mosier's up there with Billy Cabral, Bill Whipp, Kyle Ventura, and Roger Tugas. They're right up there with me. Those are my icons, and those are the people I look up to. And Bill will be sorely missed. I will miss his messages sometimes during the course of the week, telling me what I did wrong or what other people did wrong and what I should do. And I know there will be no public service for Bill, but I do want to wish Mary and his children all my family's sympathies, and Bill would sorely be missed. It's just one of those guys that just makes an impact on your life, and you just you hurt by his passing.
Yep.
That's it.
His legacy will remain in town for a long time. Stanley.
Mosier had a finger in everything in this town. He leaves a wonderful legacy. I just want to mention to everybody, we've all addressed this, I'm not going to belabor it, but don't make foolish decisions during this Thanksgiving because it could cost you dearly. Please enjoy, do like Sean McDonald is doing. Celebrate within your bubble. Don't go outside of that. The alternative is not good. Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, and just the timers and the turkeys, they're not listening devices, so nobody's going to be interested.
Yeah, cameras.
Another problem is spending time on social media.
With that comment, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to wish the entire town a happy Thanksgiving and to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson?
Yes.
Mr. Title Telbaum? Jeez, can't talk.
Yes.
Mr. Herron?
Yes.
And myself, yes.
Hey, you got his name right.
Yeah. He's
So
not,
you almost made